Alright, so today I will be making an island on Farcry 4 map editor. As you can see, starting with a blank map so that I can do as I wish without restriction. Alright, so I think I'll start with the bump tool and probably make it somewhere around the middle. This is going to be the central island, and then I'm going to have a few smaller ones coming off the edges. I think I'll probably raise it like that much. Make a little bit smaller one coming off of it, and then a slightly bigger one a little bit further away. Okay, so I don't know if I should put in the rest of the islands now or just do an example on these three. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so very useful tool, noise tool. You can just control everything about it. I'm not actually sure what all these really do, but they make it look different. But basically you just like make it as big as the thing you want, or just, you know, how to use the program, and it will just make it just a bit more realistic. Looks a bit more like an island. Starting to get those like island looking bumps and stuff. See, that's what we've done. So maybe I can size down a bit. So you want it about the same size as whatever you're working on, otherwise it's going to store the area around it, but that's not really too big of a deal. It's going to be water there. So yeah, we'll just sort of raise it up, make it look kind of mountainous, kind of wild island look. Maybe turn off the brightness a bit. Yeah, that's better. Makes it a little bit more rigid and just natural looking, which is what we want when making an island. At the moment it doesn't look like much, it's not great, it's just sort of mountains and shit. But I'm going to add some surroundings around the outsides, like bumps and stuff. Terrain, I guess. Just for that added detail. Really useful tip, I don't know if you know it already, but if you don't, it's really useful. You can click L3, this button right here, click it in, and it changes your move speed of your camera in edit mode. Very useful when you're doing big things like this, but when you're doing more, I should say, I don't know, detailed work, more detailed work, you probably want to slow it down to like 1 or 2, because it makes it really difficult and you end up flying through your map a lot. It's not fun. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's a pretty good looking island right now. I think I might bring it like around this way a bit, sort of like have it fade, and maybe have a bit more over this side too. Just like there, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I can do that. That's really good. Really good. Because this is an island map, I'm just going to make some underwater terrain. This is all going to be underwater, all this, so it doesn't really matter how detailed it is. I'm just sort of making it just natural looking. The good thing about the noise tool is if your settings are right, you can trust it not to fuck up your work, and even if not, you can always undo if it does mess anything up. But it's a really useful tool that you should definitely use. You want to create some cool maps, especially if you're creating your own terrain. That's not your thing, and I can understand that. But it's fun. It's really interesting. Yeah. So, as you can probably figure out, this is my first YouTube video. I'm not actually sure how long this can go for. Probably just until the map is done. But it's pretty weird. Just sort of sitting here in my room talking to myself and not used to it. So, like, give me some slack. But it's looking pretty cool. The island. We got some nice rigid terrain. I think I might. No, actually. Okay. Now, all these tools useful as shit, but we're not using them right now because what we're gonna do is get some cliff textures going. So you can do maximum slope. Useful, very useful. Last time I think I put it on about 50. I'll go 55 this time. Make it a bit wider. This is really useful because watch what happens. It will exclude certain parts that aren't of that let me say steps, but I don't know if that's not a word. Steepness. That's not a word either, I don't care. Wait, you can see what it's doing. It's just like picking out the more vertical parts of the map and turning them into rock. Which makes it look way more realistic, but I think I'm going to change this a little bit because it's very dotty. You have to fiddle around with it for a bit to get exactly what you want. Sometimes, like in my last video, I just got it straight away and it looked sweet. Too easy. But that won't always be the case, obviously. Sometimes you'll have to fiddle around for a bit. Now this just makes it look just better in general. It just makes it look more realistic, it's more detailed, and yeah, just looks better. So definitely do this, and it makes it a lot easier to add paint textures when you're using that process of doing it, I guess. And as you can see, it looks cool. It's going to look really cool when this is on the water, and the island's going to look awesome. Wait, I wish there were more trees. Like, I think some palm trees would be really cool. And I noticed, I don't know if I've just not been able to find it, but I wanted to make like a drug dealer sort of hideout, and I wanted to put like some pot crops and like opium crops and stuff, but there weren't there's no pot crops, no pot plants in the editor, in any of the things, so I guess that's unfortunate, but it's not a big deal because it's amazing. As you can see, it's just, they've come a really long way since Farcry 3 with this thing, and the more you use it, the more you learn about it. Like, this is a lot like programs like Photoshop and Illustrator now. I think it's very it's just, you can do a lot if you know how to use the tools. So learn the tools. Like, yeah, learn them, definitely. They're really useful, and it's really fun creating some cool maps. So I think that'll be good as far as paint textures go. I'm definitely going to change this ugly as fuck green. Let's change that back. Okay, so we want sort of a... Oh, no. Okay, yeah, I'm going to keep that. I just wonder if I paint over this, will it pop up? I'm going to find out. As I said, I'm still fiddling around. Still learning all of the tools. There's a lot to do. But I figured this one out. Cool. So yeah, make sure to look at the bottom of the tools for these extra options, like minimum slope, maximum slope is really easy and really useful in the paint textures section of the thing. I am on the wrong. Alright. I think I'll just sort of do the island bit and maybe a bit for rock, but then we're gonna actually I'll do the water. I'll do the water and then I might add some more grass to make it look a bit better, but at the moment I'm just getting like the basic island sort of shape done. The other day I was using a map editor and I figured out that you can make like desert maps really easily simply by using the bump tool and just going randomly all around the map, like just everywhere, and then just smooth it all out and it just looks like sand dunes. It's really cool. So yeah, give it a try if that's something that you'd be into. Okay, I think I'm going to raise the water level now and see how this looks. So first I'll set the time of day. There's the sun. Midday at the moment. Alright, so probably want it like 7 or 8 in the morning. Like sort of below. Maybe 9. There's the sun. I think that's better. I think 8's better. Leave the echelon. Water level. Okay, here we go. That's what we need to be looking at our island. Make sure that we don't submerge any of it. So water's coming up. Yeah, there we go. See, it looks really good. Like with all this extra detail here, it's looking pretty good right now. So that's a pretty basic island tutorial, and as you see, that looks just awesome. Like with the sun coming up, everything. The setting time of day is really appropriate. Really appropriate. Real important when you're making your map, because it obviously controls like where the light is and stuff. So I've set it early in the morning because I wanted to get like that glimmer off the sea, because I know that that looks really good on maps with lots of water. Now I'm thinking, should I make the beach a bit bigger? I might even put it up like 2 more. Yeah. So let these go under a bit more, so you can like boat over them. It looks a bit like a reef. It's a big noise. And now I think that I'll go back to terrain tools and the smooth tool. This way you want to turn your camera shit real slow. Just want to go slow here. You don't want to make it too smooth and lose the realistic look. You don't want to do it all around the edges. Just in some places where it looks like people could go, people have been. Just make it look a bit just smoother, beach-like. Still leave some of the roughness. You gotta make sure that it still looks nice and realistic. So with map editor, I guess probably randomness is key. So you don't want like, well, for example, if I just put 4 of the same sized circles and then did the exact same amount of noise height on them, and 4 of the exact same islands, it wouldn't look very good. So you want to just sort of like, well, I see what I did. I just did it randomly. Like, it doesn't really take much thought at all. That's the beauty of the tools that they've given you. You can just learn the tools and make some amazing looking maps. Very little effort, really. I think this is going to be like the spawn beach, because this looks like a good spot. This is cool. I'm really liking this map. I've never made an island map from scratch before, but it's looking cool. It's looking pretty good. There's sand there. That's out of place. Out of place sand. It's supposed to be there, sand. Okay. This one. Alright, yeah, no, that's stubborn. It's not doing anything. Fuck it.